My name is Samantha Guidry, and this is my unit Development on Water. My unit is for 5th grade students, and this is for Education 349. My 3 lessons are What is Water, Transportation on Water, and What Lives in Water. My first lesson is my Dance and Science integrated lesson, and it has the objective of, after the lesson, students will be able to communicate and express their understandings of the water cycle through the elements of dance. So one of the major science standards that they learn about in the 5th grade is the water cycle. Their assessment will be performance. And the materials used would be the whiteboard and the book Water Dance by Thomas Locker. Here's my whiteboard. There's my diagram, which we'll go over in my into about the water cycle and the different parts of it. Then I would write on the whiteboard the vocabulary words that are listed here, and we would have a discussion. Then I would present the book, The Water Dance, so they could get a visual. Oh, excuse me. I'll play this for a second.
In the rain. Sometimes I cascade. I tumble down, down, over the moss-covered rocks, through the forest shadows.
So this book, The Water Dance, is an awesome book that shows amazing artistic photos and paintings of the water cycle, so I thought that would be an added bonus. The students would then have to perform a dance, one movement per part of the water cycle, and they would have to repeat it and start it sequentially from the beginning. So the goal would be that at the end of the lesson, they would have the opportunity to physically express their understanding, and they would be able to get into small groups and create a new dance with movements for the parts of the water cycle and perform it amongst one another. My next lesson is Explore Transportation on Water. This is 5th grade social studies or history, visual arts theater. And the objective of this lesson is the students will be able to examine 3 early explorers in history and do a role play. They'll complete an explorer worksheet. That includes 2 reasons for chosen explorer exploration. And they would come up with a list of persuasive arguments and act out a scene in front of their class for borrowing a ship to sail. So the assessment would be performance and worksheet, and I also have created a rubric that I've included. And the students would start out with the teacher writing on the whiteboard the phrase character motivation, and we would kind of go over what character motivation is and how a character might do something and use their motivation to guide them in performing their action. So I would call 2 students up and we'd do a little demonstration. Then we would discuss which each role play, was it effective, and discuss what made each role play important. And then I would divide the students up into pairs and ask the students to complete the Early Explorers worksheet, which is right here. Once they completed the worksheet, it would include information about Christopher Columbus and Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, and they would have to think about who they might have to persuade to let them borrow a ship to sail on a risky adventure to the Americas. So the students in each group would choose an explorer, and then they would brainstorm and write a list of people that an explorer might need to persuade. And they would have to come up with the arguments, and then they would have to select a persuasive scene, and they would have to act it out. They would also have to write a script or improvise the dialogue and the actions between the explorer and the people. And they would present their scenes before the class, and I would grade them based off of the assignment completion, so the participation in the worksheet aspect, as well as the performance, if they perform and they reflect a demonstration of true understanding. And here's a picture of my whiteboard. And my last lesson is called Different Fish. So this lesson has to do with art and English language arts. So after this lesson, the students will be able to orally communicate and deliver an expression of their understandings of different fish through an oral original painting, The original painting and the rubric would be the assessment. The materials and equipment needed would be the whiteboard, the book Fantastic Fish by Les Bless, the book Fantastic Fish by Rodney Carter. We would need the paper, crayons, markers, water paint, paintbrushes, and a whiteboard. So first the teacher would read the 2 books to the class, and then they would discuss and explain the differences between the fish, and they would review the names of the fish from the book and orally go over the details and the basic parts of each fish, so fins, scales, eyes, etc. Then the teacher would show an example of contrasting fish and a painting on the whiteboard, and then the teacher would distribute the paper and everything and the materials, and then the students would be asked to come up with a creative drawing that shows a clear understanding of key details of 2 different types of fish. So at the end, students would have a fish painting with 2 contrasting fish upon it to reflect upon. And at home, they would come up with clear description of the elements of art that they used during the class to create their comparison of 2 fish painting. So the students would decide what they were going to discuss, what art strategies and elements of arts, and then they would present it in a small group to other students the following day. So here are my examples that I included of a drawing of 2 different fish, and then here is my rubric, and it would be on understanding the art concepts, so the actual painting itself, as well as the oral presentation, the English language arts aspect of it. Thank you for your time.